Good evening. To arrive the site, Nonato found a man who was already waiting for us. He was very friendly and spoke welcoming to your new home. I am Michael the Nonnatus Russia. Settled, and Nonnatus and Michael started talking. And the Lord works here on the site? Asked Nonnatus. For Michael, my job is not on the site as stone. You turn him into a hunter of entities to ascertain if the senses, so that he becomes stronger faster and can keep seeing some facts and especially recognize entities when they are disguised among humans. It is, but I did not do the training with your Alberto, that the Nonnatum, not you just started training, and since many centuries I live in which you for this purpose, and all ran in anywhere in the world need to prove me that you're fit to face any and all entity or creature worthy of this mission. So centuries you are not human. The Michael then went away, uttered a few words in Aramaic. Old, it turned into a magnificent being. He had a pair of wings and shone intensely. The brightness was so great. Nonato, not Michael, returned to his human form. Here, hello, I am an envoy of the Most High to prepare humans. You are limited to mortals, but these battles here on earth cannot be faced by me or my invitations to have a balance of forces. Michael remained in place for a 6-month cycle in which Nonnatus deepened his preparation. He learned the language of entities, learned to identify beings in any form, and especially who were the evil entities and what weapons could be used to combat them, because some of these beings are protectors of vocals that man tries to invade, and others are victims of curse. And after the end of the cycle of training in the NA turned into an elite hunter entities, he felt that only prepared to fulfill his mission. Michael delivered to Nonnatus a sword made with precious metals that is not found on planet Earth, and it was light, impossible to break. Me followed. If he left, disappeared. Times after Nonnatus he learned through the news that a strange creature was attacking people and animals in the rural area of Jericho municipality in his homeland. He became thoughtful to see the news, and came in her mind all she suffered in that place. Even so, he did not find out. Warren wanted to return to his land to fight the creature. His wife made sure of him, so both left for the homeland of Nonnatus, and they left in the morning and travel a whole day. The night they arrived town, stay in an inn that belonged known that was only childhood friend Nonato's. Life was quite different, was no longer a poor retiring of the drought and all the evils of life, and now he was powerful and had a good amount of money that is given to every hunter when he finishes his learning symbol. The next day they went to the property that belonged Nonato in the rural area of the city. Arriving there, the scenery was desolate. The house was falling apart due to the long period of abandonment. Nonato was moved to remember his parents. The next day hired some men to work on site, rebuilding the house. During the period of reform he visited friends and relatives and always questioned about the creature that are appearing in the region. Good, then a childhood friend named Tony who lived in the place near his property, he said, that was pursued by a carrier creature when returning from town. So Tony told Nonato, my friend, last month I arrived from the farm and Matthew, my boy, was walking with a toothache. Even tired, I took my horse and went to the city. At the pharmacy your Osvaldo buy a medicine to relieve the pain of the boy. I was very fast, bought a medicine and came back over the miles. When he was returning there around 7 o'clock and was already in the middle of path near the cemetery of the village of São Roque Mayo horse refuge. I thought it strange to do this, even so I continued. When I was in front of the cemetery, heard a lot of growling, someone inside, and see a creature seems to have a dog like, was dark, do not stay well, has the eyes to see better, and suddenly the creature stood on 2 feet, equal people, and released a scary egg. And at the same time I stopped you with horse and arrow in the career, and the animal came after me also, that was turned on the drop serene. But thanks to God I managed to get home, and when I arrived here Saida asked me to keep her there. I said that the bug gave me a career, and after that some people have also visited this demon. Only Rhodes is that moment Nonato knew he would have a confrontation ahead. He stayed while talking with his friend and then returned to the hotel where he was staying in the week after reform finally finished. Nonnatus illustrates could stay in his place, but he knew that that would not be an ordinary night, because it would face creature and that it would probably be very difficult to defeat. So that the night came to, stayed on the balcony talking, dating, and listening to the night noises. Nonato made plans for the place when we saw his friend Tony, his wife Saida, and son Matthias. arrived to make a good coming, and how he was happy with the visit of his great friend and at the same time a little worried because he believed that the creature could appear that night and his friends could be a target, but it did not show back from the 9 o'clock of the night when Tony and his family was already leaving. If I saw a bus that looked like a beautiful terrifying coming from inside the Katinga, everyone got fearful, then Nonato said, and it's not good, and now we're going to go in. And as Tony had already met the creature he neither questioned was the same entering and asked for Nonnatus to lock the doors, so they did. Little time then heard again other redheads. They were getting closer. Nonato went up to the fourth. He took his sword that received from Michael and left the house. Tony did not understand this attitude and almost he got desperate, asked for Nonnatus not to do such a thing, but Russia told them not to worry. The Nonnatus began to shout and challenge creature hiding in the shadows, and shortly after the beast appeared and I put my eyes on her, and the Anu that was a werewolf agreed and certainly intend to destroy his life. I will eat his huge possesses by the black sharp teeth and eyes red that shone reflecting the light of the balcony, and a human intelligence. I'm speaking the language of Michael. He taught Nonnatus questioned what the creature wanted, so she said the revenge I want is blood, and his wife's creature set off on top of Nonnatus with incredible speed and tried to strike incessantly, but every blow that the beast missed championship could deflect. Then seeing that not he would kill Nonnatus, the beast was moving away and the two were entering the Katinga. Nonato seemed to be stronger and more agile than the creature. More he did not realize that it was falling as sealed. After of a good time entering the Katinga, werewolf disappeared and suddenly Nonnatus found himself alone and distant from his home, so he realized that it could be a plan to leave his wife unprotected. Came running as soon as possible and approaching the site, hear the cries of terror and sounds of shots. He saw that on the balcony his house was shot, creature and the front door missing some parts, and luckily he still arrived in time to avoid the tragedy. Started voting against the creature, and this time the beast managed to hit right away, but he also managed to copy Itla. The other was bloody, and after almost an hour finally the beast fell and with a straight blow to the head was beheaded. He asked if everyone was okay. Then they left Lucy's house and her friend Tony's family and saw that no one got hurt and just seemed scared. And you spoke sometime after you were going to know. You walked away from the place, but we heard footsteps around the house and we started to feel a rotten smell. When we heard the creature was in front of the house, she started to force the doors and windows. Then the dread took hold of us. When she was almost getting in, Tony pulled out his gun and fired. The shot was right in the middle of the werewolf chest, fell on in front of the patio, and when he was getting up, you came the meaning, hearing that bestial body turn into a human body, and when the transformation was over it was possible identify it was a foreigner who buy a piece of land in the region a few months ago. Nonato. Tony put the body on a pile of wood and put a little, it burned totally, only left the ashes. They talked a lot and Nonato spoke everything that happened in his life since the day he left Jericho and how he became a hunter. Days after Nonato returned to the cold water on the return to the same post that years ago had sold his animal. And as amazing as it may seem, the animal still recognized him and he bought back animal, and at the moment it was not possible to decide. Later Nonato sent for the animal that lived on the site in Agua Fria, and the days of Cacador de Nonato was just beginning now to creatures that crossed the border between the worlds of an adversary at height, ruthless and fearless, and especially with a kind heart. Good night.